It's tough because I do feel like you have to blend in at first to stand out. Unless you're something completely. If you're coming out of like left field with some flume type shit,
Right.
then just like fully send it in.
But
and
send
do
it.
that. But I feel like you have to kind of learn. Like, okay, this is how you make this. When I do lessons with people, I'm like, take your favorite song, drag it in Ableton, and copy it. You don't have to put that out. You don't have to do anything with that. But I guarantee you that whatever you make is going to be different enough from whatever you copied to call yours. You're just kind of copying the structure and the vibe of it. Also, when you learn piano, you don't just sit down and like make your own music. You like learn Beethoven, you learn whatever you want to learn, like music-wise, and then you kind of take your taste from everywhere and put it into yours. So my advice is like listen and watch everything, and like kind of develop your taste off that. Don't be like, I just want to be Skrillex. Otherwise, you're gonna be like probably too much like that. Yeah. Or this, like I'll watch a movie randomly and be like, oh, I gotta put that in a song. Like just take it, whatever you like to do, and put that into your music.
MPort, welcome to the Underground Society podcast, man. How are you?
Good. How are you doing today?
Good, man. Yeah, welcome to the show. I found you, I think you came up on like my release radar or something. I was like, this guy's music is sick. You have such a different and unique approach to your music. And then I checked out your social media and I was like, this guy's also a clown. So this is going to be a fun interview. So tell me a little bit about yourself and just kind of how you got started in music and why you became a musician.
Yeah. I mean, born here in Colorado. I know everyone's like fucking moving here and stuff.
That's a nice spot to be raised in.
Yeah. So it's like, once it started like popping off here, it's always been a good scene, but blah, blah, blah. That's not started from the beginning, I guess. But yeah, I mean, growing up, I was like interested in piano. So I took like piano lessons and eventually I was like super curious. I was like in the metal music and stuff. And I was like super curious how they're making this stuff. And I remember like the first time I was like explained or I saw like how drums were recorded where it's like there's a mic on each individual thing. And then like it's all put together. I was like, that's cool. I want to learn how to do that. That seems cool. And then like, oh, you track like one guitar on the left speaker, one on the right, and you have this crazy like stereo. So it's kind of like learning some stuff like in high school of like how music's made in general. And then I got really into it with Guitar Hero, dude. I was like,
dude, I used to love Guitar Hero. That was my shit.
Yeah, dude, like the drum kit and all that stuff.
Yeah. The World Tour or whatever package. Yeah.
Yep. So Rock Band and that, they had the GH Studio. Like they had like a little studio in there, so you could like kind of like freeform play and record and stuff. Oh, okay, multi-track. I had like a little Yamaha keyboard that had like 5 tracks on it, and I recorded like the Office theme, like little by little. So kind of got into like stacking layers and all that stuff. Kind of like end of high school, and during high school, I was like really into electronic music as well.
Yeah.
Like early days of like Skrillex and Excision and Infected Mushroom and all that stuff. So yeah, and then from there, I was like, I want to go to recording school at CU Denver. Like
okay, that's where you end up going to school.
Yeah, like audio school technically. It was like a bachelor's in science with the focus in music or something. So I learned a bunch of rules. I break them now, but
yeah, got to learn the rules before you can break them, from what I've experienced and from what I've heard from other people. So
totally,
yeah, it's important to learn the baseline foundation stuff so that you know, like, okay, and learning, I guess, the correct ways of learning how to break them properly too, to where it still like works.
Oh, totally. Yeah. You can break the rules and make terrible things.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Throughout that in like recording school, they're like, you're to record bands and stuff, which I did and all that. And it was fine and fun. But I was like, I really want to make this like really like dance, this like bass music stuff. Cause I love like anything that was like, sub heavy or whatever. Even in the metal songs, it'd have like those sub drops. And I was like, oh, it's the best part. I had a sub in my car. How do I make this thing play?
Yeah.
So I kind of like slowly but surely got into that realm. Worked at like a nightclub, which really was like the whole intro to like DJing and all that stuff. I was like running lights and all that as like an internship and eventually a job. And then that like got my foot largely in the door of like the whole scene and what DJing is. And I had an old project I started there and then eventually made MPort at that same place. It was like a beta nightclub before they closed down. But yeah. Cool. And then from there, it just became like, I think that was like 2017. And then from there MPort was born or whatever. And then I honestly think like then 2017 to 2020, I feel like I was like making good tunes, but it was like too all over the place.
Yeah.
I like to make everything. And then 2020, I got like a new logo. It was like,
actually
inside.
Started your MPort project. Yeah.
I feel like
what does
MPort
mean? Where did that come from?
Just like as simple as like
Is it
importing.
import? Okay, yeah.
Importing audio. And like
Cool.
I've been the past couple of years really like diving into like I'm sampling random stuff. I'm like as far as like the social media stuff or just being creative in general. I love making anything out of anything or something out of nothing, you know.
Yeah. That's dope.
Import it.
So taking it back to, you said you were from Denver. Obviously, that's like kind of starting to become like the new LA almost, especially for bass music. What, I guess, how did that influence, or how has it changed since your early days? How's Denver as a whole, from like your childhood just growing up there to like what it is now with music, and obviously especially now that you're also involved in the scene too?
Yeah, I feel like it's like as just like a living space. It used to be a lot quieter, but also you're a kid, so you're not really aware of like, everything. But I grew up in Arvada, which is like west of Denver. But every time I go to the city, when you know, I don't remember it not being as like crazy or crowded or like traffic, especially. So that sense, I think, is just like the population has grown. You see like cranes. There's like 18 cranes everywhere you look. It's always being built upon nowadays.
Yeah. I was just there about a little over a year ago, and for the first time, and it was a very cool experience being able to. I went in like January too, and it was like snow everywhere. So
oh, nice. Yeah, it'll snow one day, and then be like you can go sunbathe.
Yeah, it's hot. Yeah,
it's crazy.
What has what once like you got into like the music scene and stuff when you were working just in the nightclub? Has it grown a lot even just since then? And I guess when did that growth when did you really start to see it, like the trajectory of the growth start?
I think it's just when like the Red Rock shows started happening. Like there was the first couple of people to do it, and then there's like Global Dance Festival, which was at Red Rocks, and it had like all the big names. It'd be 3 days there, and then it's slowly but surely, like I don't know, 2018 or something. I don't know. Then there's be like the Excision on the Rocks. Back in the day, there was like the Bass Nectar ones who like ruined the sound or whatever.
Right.
They were so loud. And then now we have like Subtronics next weekend, two nights. Yeah. So it's like Red Rocks became the thing because it was like getting so popular that they could fill out 10, 20,000 people. Millennium was one of the biggest.
Yes,
I think, because he's from here, and he like, I think he was a big part of like the whole Jersey thing and like just the large.
Oh yeah, he like started that.
Large crowd.
Yeah.
So I think all that and like them being here, and I remember listening to another podcast about how like from Nicole from Black Box.
Like, yeah.
Has a huge influence of like bringing in like UK dub, like and creating this like scene that like everyone in that genre would like stop through Colorado and kind of grew it. And
that's cool.
And that side of things as well.
Yeah.
So, like,
there's a
mainstream and underground.
Other than Red Rocks, what other venues? I know there's always like 3-4 clubs, especially during the weekends, going off with bass music and stuff. But what other like, is there any, there's Red Rocks, there's obviously the stadium, which we were just talking about Millennium. He's done the trilogy there. Is there any other like big venues that people come through for? What are they?
The next one would be Mission Ballroom. It's like a new one. Yeah. They built it from like the ground up. It's like literally a perfect venue. It's really hard to beat.
Sweet.
Like, they just designed it to be the perfect venue.
Do you think they did that because it was a growing spot for like music? Yeah,
I think so. Yeah. Denver's always been like great. Like I know the EDM scene, whatever, electronic music's been getting bigger and bigger. But like when I was in school, I would go to like 1 or 2 like metal shows a week. It'd be like $30-$20, and you'd see like 6 bands at places like there's a Marquee Theater, there's a Summit Music Hall. Those are like 300 to 1,000 cap. There's like all these like theaters around. They range from like 100 cap. That's how you kind of like build it too. That's how you play.
Yeah,
you start
right.
at 100, go to 2, 3. I just did like Bluebird, which is like a small Ogden, so it's like 500 people. Yeah. So it's just like these little theaters are almost identical. They get bigger. So it's almost bigger.
It's like designed almost for an artist to grow in. It's like a good city for growth because you can start with the 100 cap rooms, the church, whatever, like small venues like that, and then you can go all the way up to. There's everything along the way to even like the stadium. So.
I never thought about that, but 100%. Denver has the ladder.
Yeah. Where like a lot of places, it's like you either have the small stuff or you have like the touring venues where like the big boys come through. So it's that's cool that Denver has it set up like that. Tell me a little bit more about your schooling experience. What did you like? Some of your likes or dislikes about it, and how does it compare to like a school, maybe like a Cosmic Academy or like an Icon Collective for where you were, especially at the time that you went there?
Yeah, I think like overall it was a great experience, and I think also overall it's not necessary, but like I think what I got out of it, like besides like education and stuff, was like friends and like literally being surrounded. I like was in a house with, like 4 other producers at one point, and just like really making everything, making stuff together, making pop, hip hop, rap, jazz, rock, whatever it is, and like combining it and stuff. And like you would meet all those people at school and have classes with them. Like my class would be like in a studio with like a console and stuff. That's one class. But then you go to that, then you go to physics, you know? So I feel like
Interesting.
yeah, the difference is like it's more of like a bachelor's.
Traditional-ish school. Yeah.
So like, but it was like not as hard also because I like liked it a lot. Like at one point I think I took 21 credits because I had to. Otherwise I had to like take another year or something.
Oh,
so
shit.
like, so I'm like, I'm doing like music theory, piano class, like normal classes. Like I think I did physics was one of them. I really like that class. And then there's also like school kind of courses that are like for music. So I think like I took physics of sound and music. So I learned like how violins actually work or
oh, cool.
how microphones
like how
work.
It actually the physics of like how it pushes out sound, how it actually like amplifies through. Yeah, that's cool.
There was a Max for Live course I wish I took in hindsight. It was like I forgot the word for it. Like not extracurricular, but you get credits, but it'd be like your choice or whatever.
Elective or whatever.
Elective,
yeah.
Yeah, so it was like an elective for Max for Live where you would learn how to like make plugins. And I wish
that's sick.
Some of my favorite things I use nowadays are Max for Live.
Did they teach you like business stuff too?
Yep, there's like a music business. There's like a whole music business program. So then other people you meet in school are like, I want to be a manager.
All the managers and stuff, yeah.
I want to be this. So those courses were really interesting. I learned about like all the deals, like the splits and all that. I forgot a lot of it, you know, but I'm learning it now again. Now that it's coming back. I was like, oh, okay, I think I remember this.
Right.
I have to give you how much percent? Oh, yeah, okay.
Damn it. Yeah.
Damn it. Get away from my merch.
What really caused you to go the EDM route? Because I know you were very influenced early on by metal, and you were kind of, you know, the different mics on the drums and stuff like that. You were intrigued by. When did you decide to like, oh, I'm going EDM now?
I think it was mainly because I loved it just as much, honestly.
Okay.
But it just started with the energy of it. I think the energy's all the same.
Yeah.
But I think it was just like the ease, because I was like, it's like all these my friends would have to like in their school like have bands and like rehearse and then record it and all this work, and I was like, I can just get this thing called Easy Drummer and program my own drums and then get like this and have my own bass line and do this, and like I love collaborating with people, especially nowadays in like this scene. But like you could just like I could learn it all, and then I guess I started because like I had to practice. I had to practice mix downs, you know. And so I started off making like pretty bad music, but sonically it wasn't the worst.
It worked,
I was like learning how to do it. So if I go back and listen to like Mark Mount SoundCloud, which is no artist name, there's like a bunch of songs on there that have no structure, and they're cool sounds, but and like sonically they're mixed decently. That's what I was learning. But now eventually it like cross, but then sometimes I like forget about mixing and I just make something cool and don't care how it sounds, or vice versa.
And that's where breaking the rules comes in. Gotta learn the rules to break the rules.
Right.
Take me to when you were working in the nightclub. How did that really start your trajectory? Was that an EDM club? Was that kind of your first kind of entry into the EDM world, or?
Yeah. So I had it was like, it's really random. It is about like who you know and time and place and saying yes to things you might not know how to do. But my sister had a friend who worked as the upstairs. There's like 2 floors of this nightclub. There's a main floor with like, it's a 4-point Function 1 rig. Insane. And then upstairs was like locals usually, and it would always be the opposite. So it'd be like if there's dubstep downstairs, there's like techno upstairs.
Okay.
There's pop, blah, 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 hip hop. Yeah. And so they're like, we need someone to like run the lights and like the sound and backline and stuff. It's just this little room. It holds like 100 people. There's like a little LED board, not visual, but just like literally just pixels pretty much. And so then you have like 2 softwares, and sometimes people would bring in lasers and you can operate that and stuff. So I worked there for free for like 4 months as like an intern while working at Cheesecake Factory while going to school. While having a girlfriend. It was crazy. So I was like, yeah, doing all that, but it was fun. I'd work there like they were open Thursday through Sunday, but I don't think the upstairs was open on Sundays usually. So 3 days a week, I'd go be there from like 8 p.m., 3 a.m. And then through that, I was just like, I was making music the whole time before that. And then I was like, oh, I didn't know how to DJ. I didn't know anything about it really. I saw plenty of shows at that point, but I didn't know. So then, but where I was like DJs here, and I'm like right next to them doing the lights. So 1, I'm getting their vibe. 2, I can watch everything they're doing. And 3, like see what works and what doesn't work. And so like I would just sit there and be like, okay, you hit play here and it works here. And oh, that's bad. That's good. The crowd likes this. The crowd doesn't like that.
Oh, okay. So you're learning off
osmosis, really.
Immediate feedback. Yeah.
Yeah. And like you can also save them. I'm big into lights still.
Yeah.
But I'm like, if they're messing up, you could just be like, crazy light show or turn it off.
Yeah.
The lights are like just as much as the show. And then eventually after I started getting paid, I just got like a nightly rate. I had to do that first summer. I was working for free. I got to meet like Zed's Dead, Skrillex came through. Like there's
Nice.
like people came through for after parties and
That's
they would go
sick.
to that lounge thing, and it was crazy. And I was like, this is cool. This is cool. And then I was 20, I think, at the time, and so I didn't drink or anything because I was like, I don't want to lose this. I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
And then when I turned 21, that was fun. Worked there still, and then eventually got promoted. I went downstairs and I started running the visuals and the next door lighting guy. So then I kind of learned that aspect.
Did you learn any of the visual stuff in school, or where did you pick that up at?
That was all there.
Oh, crazy.
There, yeah. And it was like kind of a ghetto rate because it was a low resolution screen. So I would literally like every week just go on like Giphy, like these low res little GIFs, and it would look great because the screen was like not HD. And so then
you could get away with a little bit more because you couldn't really tell.
Totally, yeah. And it was like, all the effects. So like if they're playing a SpongeBob song, I'd have a SpongeBob visual ready.
Nice.
Because what was it like when Midnight Tea had like the Rick and Morty
yeah.
I would just always have like Rick and Morty visuals that have these pages and stuff, and of course whatever the artist's assets were.
Yeah.
And eventually just kind of like kept working there for years. And
That's
so I got to do visuals for like, I don't know, if you name anyone, they probably came through there, and I got to work.
That's so cool.
It was the same situation too. It was like lighting, VJ, DJ. And then eventually when I worked upstairs, someone's like, you want to play this show? Never DJ'd before in my life. And I was like, yeah.
Sure.
So it's really like, I think a month later, I had a partner who knew kind of how to DJ. We started a thing. I made like an EP, and we eventually went our separate ways just because I felt like I wanted to do my own thing.
Yeah.
But then after that, I kind of became like a main floor resident to open. There's like a 2-hour slot to open. So then I got good at like, playing house for an hour, then going in and like opening. I'm a big believer in like opening a club up or like a show up.
I agree.
Like, you walk in and they're playing like Scream Saver, like second song at 9 o'clock. I'm like, all right, where do we go from here? Like I would play like pretty boring music on purpose to like, bring it up. And I still do that with my shows that I curate. Like not to call them boring, but I like more just like cool. Like, I'll have a deep dub opener, and then like someone who maybe blends it, and then a wonkier direct support or something.
Yeah, you lead someone. Yeah. So you only have an hour usually, so it's probably like a quicker process than the extended sets. But there's still the same idea is still there with starting people off slow and working in. That's honestly, you see any like the high level guys, that's what the same shit they do too. They don't pound you the second song.
You got to have the breaths, it's really a roller coaster.
Yeah. Some of my favorite sets, that's like such a great point. They have chilled moments that let you breathe. That if you're at a set and you're dancing, you need a second to breathe sometimes. You need a second to get some water. You need a second to hit your vape real quick, whatever the hell it is.
I've made the mistake of not mistake, but like realization. I'll be playing because I've prep sets for like bigger shows with like a bigger room, and then I'll go like somewhere else out of state and like play a similar set, and I'm like, this is like way too much energy for this room. There's no breaks. Like I'm tired, they must be tired. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let this one ride out. I'm gonna like skip this song. Maybe they don't have a good enough sound system for this song, so I'll skip that and do this. But like there's a thing of like you can play like a big EDC festival and kind of have more of a nonstop set because people can just like, all right, I'm just gonna talk to my friend because I'm tired.
Yeah.
But in an intimate space, especially like a 360 thing, you just need to like catch your breath because there's like no escaping it.
Right.
That's something I've learned is like I love the smaller shows too. Oh my gosh. Like I had a friend play the other day for like 20 people maybe in like a bigger room, and he had everyone just come on stage, and it was like one of the most fun times I've had.
It's like Infect at Lost Lands. That's like one of the most legendary times that's happened.
Dude, yeah, because the energy just bubbles. Yeah. And then even if there's a crowd outside of that, like being shot off.
Yeah. You doing the VJ work, I have two questions off of that. One is, and you were just talking about, letting the crowd breathe, stuff like that. Do you think the VJ work in your earlier phases of your career helped you kind of learn that skill of, listening to the crowd and playing and not, overworking the crowd or anything like that? Like, do you think the experience there at the VJ, they're doing the VJ stuff, helped you in any way with that?
Totally, yeah. Because like VJing is very similar to DJing, and it is all on the fly because you don't know what they're playing. Like I can look over and see or like all that stuff, or I start to know the songs. I became like a human Shazam.
Right.
And speaking of Shazam, I would Shazam so many songs. It's literally like I think it's still on my dock on my phone.
Oh yeah,
Like
I have it on my shortcuts. Yeah,
the main thing.
yeah.
I'm like, okay, what is this? So I like find really cool songs, and then it like the songs that people played all the time because I'm hearing literally like once I was downstairs, it'd be Thursday through Sunday, and there's 3 sets a night. So I don't know, what 12 sets a weekend
Yeah.
for like 3 years. So I've heard a lot of sets, a lot of DJs. I've seen everything. So when people would start playing like throwing elbows every set, I would like delete it from my computer. I was like, I'll never play this song because I wouldn't play it. And I feel
I don't
like
want to be that guy.
I feel like that's when I kind of went like deeper and like went into that realm of because
probably pushed you to be a better producer and like be more original from hearing the same shit all the time.
Yeah. And I would know like what the crowd would like. And 2017 was like the big era of rhythm. That just like I
come
love
back
it
around.
Yeah. I love it. But like a whole night of it, I can't do it as much anymore. But I really like. I was like, what if it's like rhythm, but like more like sub focus versus like top end focus? And that's when I kind of got some of my older songs like Flesh and stuff, where it's like really deep and it's still rhythmy, but like not. But I had that whole realization of everyone's going right, I'm gonna try and go left, and I still try to do that because I feel like that turns your head. Like if you see a million cars going right and then one's going left, you're like, oh, what's that guy doing?
What's that? Yeah.
And so when everyone's going rhythmier, I kind of went more Wakani, and then Wakan kind of, but that was before Wakan. But then the Wakan was born, and I was like, oh, this is like my shit.
Yeah, my home.
My home, yes. I actually got to play the first ever Wakan takeover as like the opener.
Oh, cool.
And that was sick. Like Ellis Dream's first show.
Yeah.
So like doing that remix was like
huge
full
for
circle this year. So, but yeah, like Wakan has been definitely like, okay, that's a cool place. And then from there, everything like Deep Dark and Dangerous is also really cool, and all those like collectives of Spicy Boys, Easy Baked, and all that. So I love that realm.
Yes, me too. I actually am personally, as just a fan myself, I like listening to that a lot more than rhythm too, personally. My second question that came out of the VJ stuff was you were saying how, Zed's Dead, Skrillex, all these big boys came through there. Did that help you in any way to make connections, or did you, meet any of those guys? Have you worked with any of those guys past that? Like, did that help in any way in your earlier phases of the career?
I feel like I could have taken advantage of that more if I wasn't so like, I think at a point you get jaded and you're just like, I remember Subtronics would come and he played so much. He wasn't headlining or even direct support. He was like the one before that. And he would come like, I think every 3 months. And at some point I was like, who's Subtronics guys here all the time? I don't know. But now in hindsight, I'm like, God damn it, I wish I could have fucking taken advantage of that.
Yeah.
But I was also like, I'm pretty shy. Or like I'd be like, I make music. And so I've had some like I would go to some after parties and I like showed some people some stuff. The music was probably like decent, but not like, oh, what the hell? Who are you? Type. So in a way, I'm glad I didn't. But it's also like it's a fun talking point now when I do get to like connect with these people and artists. I'm like, oh, do you remember this club? Because it was kind of a legendary club, and so people because the sound was just like insane, and it was just very intimate. Like the booth was like in this like almost spaceship, and you could like touch the fans type thing.
Oh, that's cool.
It wasn't like a raised stage or anything. So I feel like people remember that. So it is a nice like talking point. I think I told like when I was hanging out with Sammy a couple years ago, I was like, oh, you remember your first ever Ellis Dream show? Like I was on that show and I worked there, and it is like a nice like, oh, you remember that? I remember that.
Yeah.
Trying to think of who I think I connected really well with ATLians, opening for them like a couple times.
Dude, they're so cool. I've met them like without their masks on, and like was like their transportation, I think, one night for a local show that we had. And dude, those guys are so cool. They're such nice people. Cool.
Dude, yeah, it's they're so funny. We're doing like an airdrop war in the green room one time, and just like literally airdropping each other random.
Dude, I was doing that. We were doing that on the plane to Lost Lands last year. Randomly, like not a lot of people on our flight were Lost Lands people, but then there were some people that weren't. Just random memes popping up on their phone.
Yeah, the flight from Denver to Lost Lands is quite crazy.
Yeah, I bet.
Last year for the first time it was like 5 a.m. and everyone's wearing like all their gear and stuff.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to next kind of topic here. I wanted to bring up the fact, or you wanted to talk about, and something that I've heard in a lot of your music is your producer tag. What does that mean to you? Where did that come from? And like, why do you think, or do you think it adds any importance to you as a producer or your brand?
The Deepa, right?
Yes.
Deepa.
Yeah.
Well, it started with Proximity, which was one of my favorite songs that I've ever made still. Just like I made it during the pandemic. It's literally like the lyrics or the sample is like too close to me. And it's just like I worked at a dispensary at the time, and I literally had to work through the whole thing and like all the anxiety of like wearing the mask and not knowing if you're gonna freaking get sick or not, what if it's real or not real, I don't know, all this stuff. And so I think one night I just kind of took that feeling and put it into that song, and it was like the first song that got, I don't know if it's signed. It wasn't the first song that got signed, but I got picked up by Dirt Monkey.
Oh,
And I kind of like got to meet him through that
cool.
and connect through him, because I sent it to my friend Shank Aaron, who then sent it to him. And
Yeah,
Dirt Monkey messaged me. He's like, I need this right now. Please let me sign it. And I was like, okay, sick. Let me finish it. But that song, I needed like a turnaround, and I've done like the whole like switch, and stuff like that.
Right.
I was sick of doing that. I've heard it all the time, and I was like, ooh, it does go down in tonality. So like I just recorded myself, and I was like, deeper. And so then it was just in that song, and then I don't know what the next song I did was, but I just had it saved, and I was like, ooh, what if I put that in there?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's kind of sick. And then I just kept using it and using it.
It goes really well with your music. Like sometimes you can't even really catch on to it. It's just like you place it well too.
Yeah, there's some secret ones, and they're like I just did a song with Shank Aaron, and there's an acapella. I forgot the acapella. It's a rapper, but she says DEEP. Deep. And then like, so I don't put deeper in that song, but she does say at one point before the switch, DEEP. Oh, it's sick. And then I'm kind of switching it, or like it's fun. Like I have different versions of it, or like I try to modify it, but I like to evolve it. But I think the next thing is having like an A call and response, because my favorite tags have like the crowd knows it's coming. Like tape B is like, yo, tape B, and the whole crowd's like, show them how it's done. Yeah. Or Deuces bitch, right?
Oh, I see what you mean. AB. Yeah.
So like mine kind of comes out of nowhere, so the crowd can't go along. But I started doing I like the turtle thing, the kid.
Yes.
So it's like I like deeper.
Yeah.
So if the crowd hears I like, they know deeper's coming, or weird or something,
Yeah.
So that's been fun to kind of like evolve it, and I think it's really crucial and cool to have like a tag or something like that kind of just
make you stand out. Easily identifiable if you have a new track or something, or if you're getting played in someone else's set too. You can be
that's
like,
why I do it, because I'm like, if someone's gonna play this, like I want them to know it's mine.
Right.
Just like, come on, please.
My automatic copyright.
Exactly. Yeah. And if I do like any kind of rap or like, I don't know, I've always loved having a thumbprint or whatever on a song. Besides the sonic palette.
With your style of music, you're talking a lot about Wakan and stuff. I know I wanted to bring up the song you recently did with Taboo.
Oh, yeah.
Which was amazing. I've always wanted someone to turn that into a bass music track. So you guys finally did it. Tell me about that.
Oh, Cha-Cha Step?
Yeah.
Working at that club, I would always go outside and talk to people and you take breaks. You also had like a free tab there. So I got really good at like self-control and being like, oh, I could drink for free all night, every night if I wanted to. So I didn't. But it was one of those times I was like just drinking to go outside, and I was talking to a friend, and I was like, this is like, I don't know what year, maybe 2018. I was like, dude, I got to do the cha-cha, but like dubstep, because it's like my initial like just idea that popped in was like, everybody bang your head, funk, 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 and make it like heavy. And that was like the idea. And then I kind of tried it here and there and never really committed to it, because like the acapella I couldn't find, or like it wasn't coming together. And then
and then you get Mitch.
Taboo, he moved here, I don't know, like almost a year and a half now ago, and to Denver. And so I met him a couple times through my friends Carl Expanko. He reached out to me on SoundCloud years ago and was like, I like your music. And I've been playing his music in my sets since I started, like his Bookworm, and one was S-Fam before then. But yeah, so then I went up to him at this, I think it was a Buku trap throwback set at an after party. It was like 3 a.m. And I was like, yo, I want to do the cha-cha slide but dubstep. And then he's just like, I'll do it with you. And I was like, all right, I'm not going to let that slip. So I think the next week or two, we knocked it out in basically a session. And then like another week after that, we came and finished it. And that was like a year and a half.
It came out so good.
Yeah, so we've been sitting on it.
Okay.
And like Wakan was gonna put it out, but they think you had to clear it, and we're like, we don't have to clear it because it's all our voice. We're not sampling anything. And after all that, we got
it's a full on cover. It's
just how I did the Beatles thing, where it's like
oh yeah, that's right, you did that. Yeah.
Just it's legal, so yeah. So we just self-released it, and it's really fun. It's been really fun to play in sets, and hopefully maybe it'll be a TikTok dance one day.
Yes.
Blow up randomly.
Blow up, yeah. Talking about songs blowing up, you had Turtle Level 9 song that you made
Yes.
go absolutely viral.
Yeah,
How did that happen?
not trying at all. That's
Yeah.
how every time you try, it doesn't work.
Doesn't work. Yep.
Yeah, that song kind of gave me an identity with a fan base, which is like turtles. You know, I could use an emoji.
Yeah,
be
yeah.
A turtle.
Well, even today, I looked at your story earlier. You have turtles on your.
Yeah,
you have it in your bio now. Yeah, it's like your thing.
Yeah, I'm like, why not lean into it? You know, I feel like the people who have the strongest brands is like an animal or like an image. You know, like this
T-Rex.
woolly,
Yeah.
T-Rex. Yeah, a falcon for Lenny, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? It was my chance. It wasn't planned. It wasn't anything. I literally been making like, if you scroll to my, it's the only thing I don't like about posting a lot because it buries all the crazy stuff at the bottom. So maybe someday someone will go through it. But if you go all the way down, I've been doing like visuals for my music releases for a long time because I hate just like the standard visualizers. So I try to like spice it up. Like I used to do it live because I was a VJ. So I'd take my APC-40 and I would literally hit record and do a million takes until it was good. And then I was like, wait, what if I can use like a video editing software to do less work? Kind of figured it out. I figured you could do it actually in Ableton, the music software. You can,
I was going to bring that up in a second.
you can chop that up. But
yeah.
So eventually I started doing that. And so I would just do it. And I would like buy visual packs, chop those up. Then I was like, oh, when I do funny songs, I'll do like GIFs. And then that song I didn't even write it with the vocals in it. I wrote it as an intro for a immersive song I was opening, or immersive show I was opening. And it was called Go Low. It was like, oh, we about to go low, 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 deeper, won't, won't. And that was the drop. But the reaction was really good, like really good. And then I played it a couple more times and it was always good. But I was like, I think this is good. I never like release my intros as actual songs because I just make them quick. But then that one was like, okay. Then I remember seeing that video, Blake Weber, and Travis
so
was his
funny.
name. Yeah, and I was just remember like in tears, like watching this. I'm like, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen. So then I just put it in the song one day, and then I was like, what if the video is just a bunch of turtles? That's fun, whatever. I put it out, and this is a whole crazy story because apparently, he was at Forest, and then the day I put it out, coincidentally, was the day Forest tickets went on sale or something for that December, and so then, yeah, like that. It's a hot topic, hot tag, whatever.
Yeah.
And then my phone was like freaking out in the airport. I was on my way to, I think, Albuquerque, New Mexico to play a show. And my phone, like, I couldn't get my airplane. My phone was like, wouldn't turn on, or like I was like overheating, all this stuff. So I couldn't even check. But I just know every time I got out to work, I'd have like so many notifications. I've never seen that before.
Just overloading your phone.
So yeah, I think like by the time I got the new phone, like after all that, I looked at it again and I was like, oh my god, this is like a million views or whatever.
Yeah.
And then saw like Tommy Lee, the
oh my goodness,
drummer.
Motley Crue. Yeah,
he literally just posted it on his. He didn't like
That's
share
sick.
it. He like uploaded it because he uploads
No
funny
way.
things. This girl did one that's like a scuba diving one that got another. I think total that video got like 10 to 15 million views or something.
That's insane.
So the song did really well, and then people just really liked the turtle thing.
That's dope.
So
Yeah,
like, all right,
and
cool.
it gives you something to run with too, like you said. That's really smart.
I was just happy the thing that blew me up was something very like authentic and original, and it wasn't because we do some silly stuff to like, you know, maybe get some good social whatever. Like I'm gonna remix my toaster, and then and then they can make like a rhythm song out of your toaster.
I think the Disciple guys, like Virtual Ride, and like a lot of their like upper guys, upper level guys, like Barely Alive, those guys, they made a whole track on Lamborghini sounds like 6 years ago or something. Yeah.
So sick. Yeah, I remember like, but if I sampled like my Xbox, which I did, and then like that blew up and it was like this little 30-second thing, it wouldn't really benefit me. Where this was like an original song with a funny video that was like deep, and it wasn't me like sacrificing any of my style. I wasn't making like big chorded like EDM to like catch it. It was like deep wubs that were like weird. So that's why I was like super pumped the fact that
that's dope.
Now I have level 10 and a level 11, and it's gonna keep writing that.
So cool. What I wanted to bring up the pandemic time too, because I know the timing of, you said you started in 2017, and then obviously by the time COVID happened around 2020, you'd already been producing. You've already kind of been building the MPort project, right? By that point, how did that affect or benefit, or was it a net benefit? Was it a net loss? Like what was that time like for you?
It was I would say net benefit because I did work at like a dispensary, and so we were considered essential workers.
Yeah.
And
I was still going to the club.
Right?
For sure.
So yeah, so we just wore masks and gloves and still did it. So like honestly, I was like making good money still, and I was working normal, and then I had nowhere to spend my money, so I saved a bunch of money because I wasn't
That's
going
what I
out
did.
or anything.
Yeah.
Cool. And that's how like this past year I've been able to not have a job and just kind of rely on music and stuff because of
cool.
that time. I feel like saved up a bunch of money and then got just like hunkered down. I literally made like a beat a day, maybe 2 beats a day for like months.
So it really just gave you time to like focus.
Yeah,
Like,
I live with
nothing
my
but work. Yeah.
old roommate was a rapper producer too,
Oh,
so
okay,
it's just like
yeah.
constant work and collabs and all this stuff and working. And then yeah, I was like, I got to get a new logo, so I went to like the people who did like Red Bull and like Millennium. I went there, I got a logo from them. I had some graphics made, and then I got reached out to by like management around
Cool.
that time.
Who are you with?
I'm with this like Global Dance. I don't know if
okay.
they have a thing, but it's
Yeah.
like those guys. They do like Millennium, Said This Guy, Brondo, Decadon,
Nice.
and there's like definitely the levels to it.
Yeah.
Overall, they're awesome. But so yeah, he'd reached out to me like a year before, and I was like, he's like, what is MPort? I don't really know. I think the conceptual thing is like end goal, I guess, would be to import yourself into the experience.
Yeah.
That's what I really love. Like I'm really starting to get more picky and all that about my visuals and my lights because I know I can do a good set at this point. I would hope so after like 6 years.
Yeah.
And it's like mainly my music and all that stuff. But then like I just did a show here and I like, I spent the time to make like 20 like visuals that are all like the words are lining up and time code and then the lights are good. And so like eventually I just want this whole curated show that I have a say in most of it and like have this whole experience because I love like blowing people's minds. It's such a fun feeling. That's what the light thing comes from too. Because it's like,
Yeah.
I would like, oh, I'm gonna go dark and the lasers just come out. Like the difference in a vibe between all the screens and lights going off and lasers just popping out of blackness versus just the lasers on rainbow kind of doing this
Right.
with everything else. Like they're just like
It kind of blends in with everything. Yeah.
yeah. So when you like dial it and you nail it and you know when you see like a pro show and you're just like, holy crap, this is sick.
Yeah.
So that's like the feeling I kind of want to share. But I feel like that all started and accumulated in 2020.
During
and I
the
started doing like funny videos and started like, for lack of a better word, stop giving a fuck.
Yeah.
And just having fun.
Dude, it's crazy. What I kind of like starting this project 4 years ago, and it's really given me a push to just be authentic. You're on camera all the time. Like you got to be authentic. You got to talk about your life, real things, and all that. And it's definitely something that has pushed me to become more authentically myself. And the difference of how I even feel, just really being like out there and not really caring anymore versus like a few years ago when I cared about like everyone's opinion. It's such a freeing feeling, man. So that's cool that you got to that point finally, and it shows. Your social media, it's amazing. You make some of the most funny content I've seen in this game at least.
Yeah, when Mitch came over to do the promo, I was like, all right, I know you're down to do this, but we're gonna get naked. We're gonna take off one piece of clothing on every beat. All right. And I was like, yeah, if you cared, you can't do that. And then I watched it back, literally just in tears.
Yeah, he doesn't give a fuck either.
Exactly. Yeah, I've gotten really into like comedy the last couple of years too. This
That's
like
cool,
stand up,
yeah.
so it really helps like push like.
Speaking of that, can you do the Kronk voice for me real quick?
Oh yeah. We're just here at the underground interview. Yeah, I do that as my intro a lot of the time.
Okay,
Or like a piece of it is so funny. Like the Bluebird show I did, I'm gonna post it all like on YouTube or whatever when I can. But it's literally a bunch of AI voices. It's like, this is MPort at Bluebird Theater. This is MPort. And it just builds up to nonsense and it repeats for like a little bit too long. And I could see someone like leading to their friend like, geez, okay, I know. But then it all stops. Then Kronk gets on. He's like, okay, I think we get it. We're at Bluebird. Name's MPort. Blah blah blah. The song is blah blah blah.
Nice.
That's a turnaround. And then at the end of my set, I did this unintentionally, but callbacks in comedy.
Yes. Yep.
I was just on the mic and I was about to give like a heartfelt speech. I was like, I started in the upstairs of this club and now that's why this song means so much. And I like stopped and I was like, blah, 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 and just played this song. It was like an unintentional callback. But
that's awesome.
Watching it back, I was like, oh my God.
It works. Yeah. That's sick. Yeah. I had a buddy in high school who he does the voice very well too. And he did Vine in high school when that was a thing, and like when he was like he went. I think we went to like summer camp after that, and like someone who was like from a different state was like, "You're the Gronk guy."
Oh yes.
You're like the second person that other than like the real guy that I've seen actually do it really well.
Yeah, it's like Kronk or Joe Swanson
From Family Guy.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. It's a combination. I don't know
Yeah.
how. I think an old roommate in college did it. I can do impersonations like if I hear it enough for accents, whatever. So
Okay.
he would do it. So then when someone else does it, they like over you
Yeah.
know, enunciate. So then you kind of pick up.
Yeah,
on
you
that.
seem like you've probably done it a bajillion times now, but you seem like it seems natural for you. Like
Yeah.
you're not really changing much.
Like I can do that and like Australian and all that stuff. So I kind of use that for like this intro again. I dressed up as a safari guy, and I went to go look for the best bird around because I'm playing the bluebird. And eventually I come to the venue and I'm like, oh yeah, the bluebird, that's what I'm looking for. Oh, yeah. And then I was like, yeah. So it all started with Hey Peter though, because I got the voice crack on Hey. It was like, Hey Peter.
Yeah.
And like once you got that, I was like, this is funny.
Got it. Yeah, that's fucking awesome. The other thing that I see you do a lot on your social media, and I actually again posted it on your story today, is the googly eye like bass.
Yeah.
Yeah. The snail, maybe it's even snail. I don't know what the actual filter is, but
the filter is called slug face.
okay.
So until TikTok is banned, I'll be using it. It is, yeah. So I saw someone using it. I've had TikTok since it came out. It used to be, it's still good, but it used to be like
ByteDance or Musical.ly or whatever the fuck. Yeah.
Yeah. Before it was TikTok, but it was like right when it got bought.
Okay. Yeah.
And then everyone would like hate on it, like it's a bunch of girls dancing. I'm like, dude, it's literally curated to what you watch. So if you watch a bunch of girls dancing, it's going to show you that. So
yeah.
I was like, this is the fun. It's just showing me like the funniest stuff. Like I would be on it for like 4 hours. It was unhealthy. Nowadays, it's just like ads, sponsored ad. Like it's just kind of annoying. It's like turned into whatever. But and you could like post. Like, I posted a video of me eating strawberry, or was it Frosted Flakes and strawberry milk, and I like blew up. And I was like, oh, this is funny. You can just do whatever you want, and like people might see it if it's funny.
Yeah.
Whereas, like now, I feel like I see people with higher like viewers, like 500,000 followers, and their like video gets like 1,000 views. So something messed up with it. I don't know.
Eventually, like once the numbers get to a certain size and the algorithm changes to, especially once more ads, we watch the same thing happen with Instagram. As soon as the ads get introduced and the algorithm changes, and it's like it's so hard to like get your shit seen now without paying for it. And yeah, I think all social media is kind of like at the beginning phases, there's like new numbers and everyone's excited about it, and there's like a new audience, and there's not really advertisers quite yet. And then once it switches into that, then it's just, I think that's what screws up social media, is just the ads and shit. If we could have a social media with no ads and just have, creators on there and like just normal, people or accounts without the ads. I understand why there's ads, but I think that would be way better than social media how it is now.
Yeah. And I'm making like a Snapchat revival, because I used to be like
Snapchat's going off for hella people right now. Like,
yeah.
Especially big time creators, they're making bank.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just like I used to be on like, my story used to be like ticks, those little tiny thing. It used to be like so long every day, and I would do skits with all the different filters. I would just like smoke weed and then just be like, oh, this filter, and I would probably to the point of being annoying, because I'd watch Dylan Francis do it, and I was like, this is hilarious. I want to do like this. So then now recently I had like, I don't know, I had like randomly like 100 or something like requests on there, right? So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. And I just accept. It's like, then the next day, because of the way it works, it's like the same thing. I was like, oh, accept. Like now I'm getting more like personal interactions versus like a story that's not getting pushed out or whatever, on Instagram. But yeah, the whole slug face thing came from TikTok, just scrolling. I saw someone do honestly like the similar thing, but it was to like some really slow song. It was just like the I don't know, some R&B song, and like the eyes would come out and then go in and like,
oh, I can do this with bass music.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I just did that laser beam flip or something like, or yeah, I think it was that. And I did. So I did a video to ID Please, which is like a really bouncy song. So I was like, okay, this is hilarious, because I really know the beat. So when you open your mouth, the eyes go out. So you just have to go and like look around and use your like teeth and stuff. So I was like, okay. So then someone responded, do it with laser beam, because it just came out. And I was like, I'll do it with my remix of laser beam, not the original. And then that blew up, and that was like started the.
It's a cool way to. I know you probably know Hayes. He's been on the show a while back. He has great social. He even got better since I've talked to him. But yeah, guys like that, or like some of the other guys that Mitch, even Taboo, that mix comedy and like make comedy and music work at the same time, it does so well on social media. I've seen it. Yeah.
You have to like advertise your song without advertising your song.
Yeah, yeah, you got to sneak it in there. Yeah,
because anytime you watch a video, it's like, check out my new song. Like most people are like, who cares unless you're like a big fan.
Or
of them, right?
like the edit. Which I'm not saying it's a bad thing. A lot of my friends who are artists do this, but the just sitting at your desk and like kind of dancing or headbanging to your music, like it works, but I think something funny like that is so much better.
That was a big. Oh my gosh, that was a big era. People are still doing it, and it still works. I think.
Yeah.
Like mini meters with your Ableton screen. So I remember the first one I did of that because I was like, I don't want to do this, dude. Everyone's doing this. I really don't like doing what everyone's doing. But at that point, I was like, okay, I'm gonna lean into it. So the whole thing was me being like talking to someone off camera, being like, I'm not doing the stupid mini meters thing. And then I was like, fine, I'll do it. And then I did it. And that video was like leaning into it, but also like making fun of it. And then I actually did do it for a whip. Like I just like showed 10 whips that I was working on. It's a great way to like, keep the eyes engaged. So.
Yeah, it still works.
I think my favorite has definitely got to be like Cyclops. He is like
the amount of time. Guy kills. Yeah.
the amount of time. And then like it was a video game, like the DJ video game he made.
Yeah.
Or the video of it. And like in the background the whole time is like a song of his, like Bit Crush, but it's there. And you're like, if you watch the video enough, you're like, wait, what is that song? And it's his new song at the time. So he made all of that.
Just to like push a song.
Promote that song.
Yeah, so smart.
And I have a song coming out next week. It's like a Beavis and Butthead song. And so I have in my like drafts, I have like, I think 10 videos just using it. I've been saving it. I was like, I'm going to actually like advertise the song.
That's dope.
It's really fun.
I'm excited to see you roll that out. I have a technical question for you now to bring up something you brought up earlier. How you make some of your content with Ableton, how you edit videos with Ableton. First of all, because obviously I edit this podcast and I've done a lot of video editing. How does that work? Because I've never even thought about that.
Yeah. So I accidentally discovered you could do video one day, like dragging in a video. And I was like, wait a second. It popped up a video window. I was like, is this following the audio? So I kind of like slowly but surely learned that like you can't do a lot, but you can do enough. Like, because I'm pretty fast and good at Ableton, and there's a grid. Because in video software, it's like time. So it's like if you're trying to get a snare on it, it's like you're like keyframing like. It's a big bitch. So,
and sometimes it's like, it's even if you move it over a little bit, sometimes it still doesn't line up correctly on video editors. Like Premiere Pro doesn't always line up correctly. So
I feel like watching it, the lag could be off.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm like, okay, put the grid at 140, songs at 140, let's go. And so there's a couple tricks and secrets to it, but you have to have, if you have multiple videos, they have to be the same like dimensions or aspect ratio. If you put a vertical and a horizontal, it's gonna bounce weird.
Yeah.
So I've gotten around that before where I'll like delete everything that's bounce it, delete everything else the other way, bounce it, and I'll put it together in Premiere Pro and do the annoying work of deleting the black parts in between. So so pretty much you just drag
Premiere
in.
Pro, I don't know if this would help you or not, but there's auto reframe sequence too. I don't know if that would help. It's on your do you have a Mac? It's on your the top bar under I think edit. It's one of the options, and it will literally change it'll change your aspect ratio. So if you have a horizontal video, you can just go auto reframe sequence, and it'll change everything to vertical.
Oh, what? Okay.
Yeah, just at a click of a button. So that might help you.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
So, but the other thing I would do is use Resolume. That's the VJ software.
Yeah.
So there's this thing in like music I do called mud pieing. A lot of people do it where they like pretty much like imagine you had an analog synth and you just recorded everything you did on that synth for like 30 minutes. Then you have like this long piece of audio you can chop up, and you have things you never would have ever programmed because it's pretty random and all that. So I do that with video in a sense where I take clips that say like Beavis and Butthead for this new one. I took the scene that I'm sampling and I line up the dialogue in the verse, and then the drop. Especially with the turtle video too, I did the same thing. I just kind of like use all the effects and randomly do it, and I create like a minute or two long video clip that's like just a bunch of random effects on like the same, 30 seconds of content or whatever it is. And then I drag that minute long whatever video into Ableton, and I can really quickly go through it and line it up, and it's all kind of like accidents. So like there's the thing in Ableton where you can scrub through it without like seeing it. So I'll just like I want a video hit on the 1, the 3, and the 1 and the 3, whatever, and then I can use it's like shift control option, whatever, scrub, and I'll just randomly do it, have the video window open, and it'll be like, a kaleidoscope into a strobe, and I'm like, that lines up, that's cool. And then now I'll bounce that and put that in like CapCut and then go from there. So I'm using like
so you're using
3 to
like 4
4
different,
softwares. Yeah. Where I probably could do it all in Premiere, but it would take
yeah.
so much time because I'm not
I
as good at it.
I do like the fact of the Ableton thing where you were talking about, especially if you're using music and you're trying to time code the music correctly.
Mm-hmm.
That would be way better than probably anything else. But other than that, yeah. But that's
Yeah.
primarily what you use it for. So
Yeah, totally.
yeah.
And like I've been really liking CapCut on the they have like a PC version, desktop version, whatever, Mac version.
I've never used CapCut, so
Yeah, it's free, and then like the things that it would take, I don't know how many hours in After Effects to like create, you just like drag it on and it does it.
Oh.
Like it takes your body and like outlines
It's almost
it in
it's
something.
like Canva versus like Adobe Photoshop. It's like does the same thing, but it's just easier.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm all about that. I'm like, okay, I can make like I used to do all those visuals and like intros in Resolume where I would like type the words, and so it has like the typing effect, as I'm recording it. So I'm like live typing it, and then I take every single word and line it up in Ableton, and then I do that. But now I'm like in CapCut, I'm like just like adding text, make it wiggle and wobble, and you can like make it spin in a circle and dissolve. I was like, easy. So I'm literally making my visuals kind of like how I make just like my regular posts and all that stuff.
That's super cool.
So it's been really awesome, like exploring that.
Yeah, that's cool to like exercise like other creativity too. I mean, I know like most artists, like you have to play the social media game, but taking it to that next level and actually like expressing your creativity and trying new things and being experimental and doing things just outside the box, which sounds like something that you really try and focus on as not only just you as a person, but you as an artist. I mean, you brought up also, going left when everyone else is going right.
Yeah. I was thinking Mad Max with that.
Yeah. How have you, I guess, learned or become stronger in that of, really setting yourself apart? And what I guess, advice would you give to other people? Because I think you do that super well.
Yeah. I just feel like, the whole doing what other people are doing, but like your own take on it. Like, I think a good example is the way I like or flip songs. I think there's 2 ways you can go about like remixing a song. Is like you can completely redo it and do your own version of it, and that's really cool. I know some artists that always do that. But then there's like the way of like you're just taking their song and putting your spin on it. It's like I just did that with that Flip It song, where it's like it's the same structure, it's the same everything. It just has my like style to it. So I feel like doing that with videos and doing that with whatever, like the slug face in the microwave was an accidental excision. Yeah. It's like Excision's 3D visuals. I was like, oh my God, that looks just like that. And that's like a funny topic right now. And it's all usually accidental, but you can only have accidents if you're like doing it. So you have to like just keep trying it and see what sticks.
How important, because I know comedy, obviously, like in music and all this stuff, like we get into it to have fun. How much of, you being creative, are you just really trying to have fun? Because I think that's kind of the most important ingredient, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's all having fun. I try really not to like not have fun. A lot of people complain, like you said, or like aren't into the social media, and I get it because it can get like draining as hell. But like the actual like doing it when I have an idea, like I just love the feeling of having something in your head, and then once you're done with the song and the video and everything, and you're watching it back, you're just like, oh yes, it's exactly how it is in my head out there, and it just takes practice to be able to like output that. Yeah, like that whole intro thing I was talking about earlier was one of the most satisfying feelings I've ever had, because I had 3 different ideas. I'm like, I'm either going to do this thing where it's a voicemail, because I made a voicemail months ago that was like Bluebird intro, but it's like me doing all the sounds. Then I would create those sounds in synths. The other idea was this funny like Australian guy in the park finding the bluebird. Yeah. And a third idea was the AI voices being like, this is MPort. So I figured a way out to like
do all of them.
Put them all in one. It took me like 10 hours to edit it all. I made all the visuals, made the drop, all this stuff, made the song to go along with it. And I was at my studio, like I rent out a bit, but like share with a friend, is in like my girlfriend's friend's garage, and they all came home. They're all like out somewhere, and I was like, you guys need to come to the garage right now and watch this like thing. And it was like my 3-minute intro, and I'd never felt so. I was like so proud. I was like, this took me all day long, and then I got to show it at the show, and people they were like, that was sick. But yeah, I think that's what drives me, is like if you have the idea and then you can see it and then share it, and
the art of creating.
Yeah, it's just really fun to share it. And
actually being able to like fully, and also like you said, be able to share it, but being able to fully express whatever that idea is and fully like like you're talking about the output of a lot of people have, especially younger artists, have such a struggle with like, oh, I have this really cool idea, but like technically, what do I do to get there?
Yeah.
So
There's the idea, then execution.
Yeah.
And there's always it could be a good idea, bad execution, vice versa as well.
Right.
But yeah, I think I have to do the video thing. It's like such a different part of your brain. It's like
Yeah.
it's like easier, but also like still very focused. So like the week of prepping for that thing, like one day I finished 5 whips that I needed to like get playable. I went from like just ideas to playable. I did 5 songs, and I was like dancing around the studio and like, okay, there's this and that, and it took it's like 10-hour day. And then the next day is when I did all the videos for those songs because they all sample movies or it's like scenes. Because I'm doing like a scene selection EP. So like one's like dodgeball, so I had to go on YouTube and I had to YouTube to MP4 dodgeball this scene, line it up, and then make the drop and like figure out that. And like it wasn't hard. It was very like flow state. But it was just a completely different side of your brain to like line up video and find it on YouTube. And like I did one with SpongeBob, and I was like, oh, how can I make Patrick say MPort instead of mini when he's talking about this like belt buckle that has an M on it. It's just like really like having the idea and figuring out how to do it.
Right.
But yeah, I love the whole like visual aspect to it so much.
What was there a time you were talking about, standing out and stuff? Was there a time that you were, you didn't have the don't care attitude and you were kind of afraid to like stand out from the pack, or like did you have to grow into that, or was that like a challenge for you to kind of get to where you are now with that?
Yeah, even to this day I'll be doing like, oh, I don't know if they're gonna like this in this set because it's like it's so weird or so different. I still have that, but at first it was definitely more because I'm at this club and I'm seeing everyone go absolutely crazy for like a throw and elbows tune, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna do it. Like I'm not gonna go and do what everyone else is doing. It works, and I love those songs and those artists, but like I just like I want to try and do it another way. But I feel like it was when I was just like trying to be heavy for the sake of being like heavy and like learning how to do it, and it was fun, and I still like to do it here and there, just like the energy of it. But I really like doing what makes me like laugh, and smile when
I think it's so interesting, especially at the start of our conversation. You were talking about how you were influenced a lot by metal, and what you make now and what your brand is now is like not really like I mean, other than like the bass music and maybe like the energetic fact of it, but like it's wobbly and goofy and fun is what I think of when I think of MPort, and that's not metal.
It's funny because I do have a metal song I screamed on. It's called Fearless is MPort, and it's still kind of like, I don't know, it's weird to describe. It is heavy, but it's not as like piercing. I think it's like a sonic thing, but I think this is such a good time and place for all that stuff. But personally, I just can't be alone in my studio. Like I just don't have the energy to do that stuff. But yeah, I think that's kind of where it went. I just really like groove. So I'll make the sickest, grooviest rhythm song that has like deeper elements, but as long as it's like, it makes you bounce. I love that shit that makes you bounce.
Yeah. I feel like with rhythm, like you can, but it's really just like hopping. I feel like that you can do with the rhythm, but like with like actually like being able to dance and get into it and stuff, like that's what the wobbly type bass music gives me. So I like being able to dance to music.
Peekaboo. You can probably hear peekaboo all over my music because that man has influenced me so hard. I was like, wait, if you just take your hi-hat and you go make that like off the grid a lot, and then just have one melody line that just changes, like the remix that came out today for Ravenscoon.
Very good, by the way.
Oh, thank you, dude. It's literally just like do 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 do, but I just keep changing it and changing it, and it would call back to level 9, and then it goes back spins into the thing, and I love that style where it's just like it's like the piano riff in the beginning is the same as the bass line, and it's not like also build-ups. I've also strayed away from like traditional build-ups. Yeah, I love I think that Skrillex is a big influence of that, his recent stuff where it's like an anti-build where like, things start going away and then they all come in at once verse.
It was hard for me. I noticed that too, and it was hard for me at first too because I'm not used to that usually. It was hard for me, like, do I even like this song? I was like, oh wait, no, I see what he's doing. Yeah, this is sick.
Like, inhale, exhale is like the whole song intro is just inhale, exhale, then it drops. It's so cool.
What I want to ask, what are some of your tips for people who are trying to, become more fun, goofy, not care so much? What is some of your advice to those people that are maybe at the earlier parts of their career that are looking up to someone like you?
It's tough because I do feel like you have to blend in at first to stand out, unless you have something completely. If you're coming out of like left field with some flume type shit
Right.
than just like fully send it
But
and,
yeah,
and
send
do
it. Yeah.
that. But I feel like you have to kind of learn, like, okay, this is how you make this. When I do lessons with people, I'm like, take your favorite song, drag it in Ableton, and copy it. You don't
Yeah.
have to put that out. You don't have to do anything with that. But I guarantee you that whatever you make is going to be different enough from whatever you copied they call yours. You're just kind of copying the structure and the vibe of it. So I feel like also when you learn piano, you don't just sit down and like make your own music. You like learn Beethoven, or you learn whatever you want to learn, like music wise, and then you kind of take your tastes from everywhere and put it into yours. So
Right.
my advice is like listen and watch everything, and then like kind of develop your tastes off that. Don't be like, I just want to be Skrillex. Otherwise, you're gonna be like probably too much like that.
Yeah.
Or this, like I'll watch a movie randomly and be like, oh, I gotta put that in a song. Like just take it, whatever you like to do, and put that into your music, and like don't care about sampling, don't care about remixing, any of that stuff, because it doesn't matter until like you're huge, and even then you can buy your way out of it probably.
Yeah.
Like Harry Potter Puppet Pals. I was watching that like randomly with my girlfriend. I was like, there's like a buildup in this song. It's like Snape, Harry, Snape, Harry, Snape. Like, that's not me. That's just the thing. And I was like, that needs a buildup. So I made that song right there on the spot, and then
just from watching it.
Yeah,
something on
like,
TV. That's
like,
cool.
Can I put this on Spotify? Can I share this? It's cool. Like, fuck it. If they come after me, then they come after me. But like, I'm gonna.
Have you had to deal with any issues with releasing shit from, taking pieces of other things now?
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
I don't know what the most illegal one I have is. It's not illegal. The Beatles one is legal, but I was about to.
Well, you sang it, didn't you?
My friend sang it.
Oh, okay.
But I was the SoundCloud version's like the original Beatles stems.
Yeah.
But I was about to put that on Spotify. I was like, it's probably not a good idea.
No.
it's like really going off, and the Beatles are like very about their catalog. But yeah, so I don't know. My advice is like really just like send it, and also find people that make similar stuff, or find people who are better than you and like hang out with them.
Yeah.
And don't be annoying or anything, but like learn from them. Or like I used to pay Dirt Monkey to do masters for me, which I technically didn't need. But I was just like,
didn't you go to school for that?
Yeah, right. I was just like, I want you to hear the song, so I'll pay you $40 if you master it. And so then you got ears on it, and
yes, that makes sense.
And he liked them, so it was good, but it wasn't like, oh, what is this? So
yeah.
And also just helped me too of like, oh, what can I do differently? He mastered my song Belly Dancer, which was like the first song I ever had that gained any kind of like popularity. Like I think it was who played it? Baldy played it at Lost Lands.
Oh,
Dirt
cool.
Monkey played it on the road. It's like this wobbly song that I actually sang on. I sing on some of my stuff with auto-tune and all that, but it was like, belly dance, belly dance. So yeah, that kind of thing. But I feel like I leveled up when I started hanging out with my friends Carl Exbanco. I met them in like 2018. They moved here, and they had a studio, so we would just get together, and I learned like some key commands that changed my life, and I taught them some things, and they like kind of changed my perspective on like what. Like they kind of big reason I go like groovier and deeper. I think I met them and I was doing more like stompier, more aggressive stuff, and I really learned a lot from just hanging out with them. That's like one artist, so then you get like a bunch of friends and you're always hanging out. We do these things called beat offs, where we have hour challenges with a certain amount of sounds.
Damn, you beat off for an hour?
Yeah.
Damn.
With a room of your friends, and you beat off with your headphones. We'll take 30 samples. No one's in the room is heard. Like, and there could be like, let's say there's no crash or no hi-hat in the sample pack. You just have to make one out of it. And you can't use synths. There's like these rules. And when you're in a room that's like completely silent and you look around, there's 5 people in headphones doing this. And you're stuck on an idea, and you look down and you're like, I got to do something. And you make something. And even it's been so many times in the last 10 minutes it comes together, even though you spent 50 minutes like
that's cool
trying to make something.
That's a cool idea.
Nothing. It really
pushes you creatively.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So I've gotten really fast at Ableton. And so when I see a door spring and I'm like, I'm gonna sample this, I'm not gonna spend more than an hour on it, because I'm like, I have an hour.
Right.
I'll have 30 minutes to make the video, and I'll post it as soon as it's done, or like tomorrow.
Dude, that actually brings me to an even greater idea of like time management. Like I feel like doing stuff like that and getting more proficient at like what you were just saying with Ableton and stuff, like, and especially a project that you're making money from, you're a business owner too, so you're gonna have to wear both caps at different times, and being able to learn how to work more efficiently and be able to do what you just said, being able to actually, I feel like that would make it easier to maybe time block out your schedule, or actually like get things done on time, or if there's deadlines, like meet deadlines, stuff like that. So That's cool. Yeah.
If you set like a timer, I should take my own advice, but if I set like a 45-minute timer, and at that timer you have to be done with whatever task you're trying to do. When I was doing I don't think I have them here. When I was doing all the videos, I was like so overwhelmed. Oh, these are like collabs. Like, oh yeah, I was like writing down like all the different things, and like when you're done with that video and you export it to that song, you like cross it off. It feels so good.
Thank God. Yeah.
Like you're like tomorrow, like I gotta finish this. I gotta fix this bass in this Exotics collab, and then I gotta finish this Millennium remix thing I just started this week, and I was like there. But I sat down after the show because we're supposed to do this on Tuesday, right? And I went to last minute. I got to go to Red Rocks, and
yeah, congrats by the way.
Thanks, dude. So fun. But yeah, I was like listening to his song he played, and I was like, whatever this drop is all right, but these vocals are so good. So like Shazammed it, and I was like, I remixed it that night.
Oh, cool.
Released like 90% of it at least. Yeah. So I feel like, yeah, when you have the idea, like doing it and like being like, hey, I know I'm like watching this TV, but I had this idea, so I'm gonna go do this, and allowing yourself to do that. Also allowing yourself not to do it as well. I have that problem. Yeah. I'll literally turn on my Xbox. I'll like get the Call of Duty screen whatever, and like maybe I'll take a hit of weed, and I'm like, cool, and like just open my laptop. And like that's probably not healthy.
Cool, not doing this.
Yeah, I wish I could just like relax and shoot some zombies.
Dude, I got like that the other day. I had some emails that I had to send out, and I was like, I could push it to tomorrow, and I was like, turned on TV. I was like, I'm gonna do it tomorrow, and then as soon as I turned on TV, exact same thing. I was like, all right, phone.
Yeah. That's what happened the other night. I was about to I wasn't tired from the show. My girlfriend went to bed, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go downstairs and like play some Rocket League to go to sleep. And then I smoked, and then I was like,
stay up till 4 a.m. producing.
What was that song I Shazammed? I looked it up, and I was like, oh, it's so good. It's Hold On by him or something.
Okay, yeah.
And so my Xbox is literally on the home screen, and I'm on my couch just like figuring out the notes of the song. And yeah, then I listened to it the next day, and I was like, this isn't half bad, and then finished it. I love those moments so much.
Yeah.
That's how I made like Jiggler on the couch.
Yeah.
So fun.
That's dope.
Verse like in your studio, like.
Yeah, ultra focused mode, which I mean, that's not bad. You got it. Just kind of a time and place for both, but.
Yeah.
Well, it's been awesome having you on the show, man, and talking about all that we've been talking about. It sounds like the kind of the general idea of this episode, the general topic was learn the rules so that you can break them. And I think you've done a good job at, breaking the rules and making that, not only with your social media, but with your music and everything. Just you're very unique, and that's why I wanted to have you on the show. So I thank you so much for giving me your time. I have a few wrap-up questions for you, though. One is, what are you most looking forward to, either in your personal life or in your music career, the rest of this year?
This year is a lot of things in the fall I can't talk about yet, but I'd just say I'm playing like a lot of shows.
Sweet.
In a little amount of time. And it involves a bus and some friends.
Hell yeah.
Wait. And so I'm going to be like experiencing something I've never experienced. I'm really excited for that.
That's awesome.
And like nervous and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Some festivals I've been wanting to play my whole life, and I get to play them this year.
Hell yeah.
What's the one that it's announced is the Dance Festopia. I get to play like at
that's
4 a.m. or something.
Nice.
I'm so stoked. And then, I think I'm doing my an EP, which I guess would be my second EP. Everyone's always like, album, I make enough music for an album, but I'm waiting to do like a story or something where I'm like, because I do love the idea of someone sitting down and listening to my story for an hour. Right, I did it with my friend Gorilla T, and I was like, I understand you.
Dude, his
more
album's
now,
so
bro.
good.
Yeah, so good. I know how I wrote it, and I know his mind state when he did it. So I was like listening to that, like not with him and like just on my own time playing games. I really understood him more too.
That's
so I
sick.
want that. Yeah. So what I'm doing now is like an EP that samples a bunch of movies and scenes. Like SpongeBob, Dodgeball, Hot Rod, Cool Beans, all that stuff, and or like memes and stuff. So, and I just kind of like the whole fuck it mentality of like labels annoy me a lot in a way of just like I can create content really well, so I don't need you to like own my music for you to post like a little visual that no one's gonna see. I can just put it out myself and not worry about samples and all that stuff until later, I guess. So that's kind of like the idea behind it is like, I'm gonna take some of my favorite movies. I really want to do I have it downloaded. What's the Walk Hard?
Oh yeah.
There's that whole movie it's like there's a scene where he's like, I don't know what this is, but it makes me want to dance. And then there's a whole like you don't want none of this, Dewey Cox. It's the cheapest drug there is. Like anyway, I get so inspired by all that stuff. So I just want to kind of lean into that and like import movies into music.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I love that your brand, the general brand idea. It's so cool, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for you, man. And like I said, I love your music, so I'm gonna be keep on listening.
Thank you, dude.
Yeah. Final question. I ask this at the end of every single interview. If there's one piece of advice you could give yourself when you first started your career as a musician, what would it be?
Have fun with it, and it's really just like, it's so generic, but yeah, really have fun and be yourself and post all the funny videos. Don't hold back.
Yeah,
and just release it. Fuck it, release it.
Actually, lean into it and be confident.
Yeah, lean into it.
Yeah,
there's no point. My good friend always said you get 0 plays when it's on your hard drive.
Yeah,
you could get 1 play if you put it on SoundCloud.
Facts.
So yeah, so I think that, like, the other day I was driving to a job site thing I was doing, and I was like, I had this levity flip for like 6 months, and everyone's releasing them. I don't have a show for a bit. I literally was in my car driving. I should be on my phone, but I just unprivated it, and I was like, now it's out.
Now it's out.
Enjoy, free download, blah blah blah. So put it out. I think it always does more harm than, more good than harm.
Yeah,
at all. So
absolutely.
But yeah, I think put it out is my big advice, I guess.
Awesome, man. Sweet. Well, thank you so much for everyone who tuned in and listened to our conversation, who made it to the end. Please make sure to like or subscribe if you're on YouTube, and drop us a 5-star review if you're listening on Apple or Spotify. And I hope everyone has a good week. Thank you so much again, MPort, for coming on the show, and hope you have a good one as well.